Okay, so we talked about what you should see in the first 0 to 3 months. Now I'm going to talk about 3 to 6 months. So all those reflexes I talked about in the first 3 months, those should be there through about 3 to 4 months. Sometimes you can see them right around 4.5, but once you kind of hit that point, you should start seeing those reflexes go away. And that's what we look for, is that's normal neurological development, is they're there at the beginning to start the development of all those systems. But again, once those systems get developed and your sensory systems get developed and your motor systems start getting more developed, your brain should shut those reflexes down to make the ability for you to do more complex movements. Because, like, for example, if you still have a palmar grasp reflex and every time you put something in their hand they grasp down, sometimes that's not advantageous. Sometimes, you want to hit a ball, or sometimes you don't want to grasp onto something. If that reflex is there, you don't have that choice. That reflex needs to go away to open up for more complex skills, like being able to grasp, let go, grasp, let go, rather than just reflexively holding on to something. So these reflexes, the ones we talked about, should start going away. So right around that 3.5 to 4 month mark, you want to start rechecking these. So you want to stroke the palms of their hands and see, do they still reflexively move or grasp their hands? Once they start getting older, they're not going to be as obvious. Like, so when you grasp their hand, you may just see a reflexive movement like this. It may not be a full grasp onto your hand like they are when they're an infant, but if you're still seeing a reflexive movement, every time you do it, the reflex is still there. So just like how you did it to get the reflex, you stroke, stroke, stroke to get it, you do the same thing to get rid of it. Because think of it this way, is as you stroke, they activate those muscles, which activates their brain. It tells you if that reflex is still there, that those brain centers aren't developed well enough for the reflexes to be inhibited or shut down. So if they still have a palmar grasp, you're going to stroke, 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 stroke until it's something called fatiguing out the reflex, where you stroke, 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 you'll see their hand move, hand move, hand move, then eventually it'll stop moving. That's what you're looking for, is that stop, that their brain basically not responding to that anymore. So you'll stroke, 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 they stop moving, then you can stop for that session, come back to it again, a couple hours later, do it again. If you see their hand reflexively starting to move, do it until it stops again. Do it every day until you get to the point where you stroke their hand and you don't see anything. As simple as that. Same with the rooting reflex. About 3 to 4 months, you should see that reflex going away. You're going to stroke, 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 stroke until you don't see it. Same with the one on their back called the spinal galant. You're going to stroke, 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 going from the midline and working your way out. If you see any reflexive movement when you stroke, I should use him. When you stroke up his back, whether it's closer to the midline or it's way out here, and you see that reflexive curve towards that side, that reflex is still there. So wherever you find or you're able to elicit that reflex, that's where you're going to stroke. So stroke, stroke, stroke until you don't see anything anymore. And again, you'll do that repetitively every day, and then eventually you won't see it. You'll go to do it the first time, you won't see a thing, then you don't need to do it anymore, because now his brain is shutting down, his or her brain is shutting down that reflex. Those are the only ones that should, of the ones I showed you, ones that should be going away right around 3 to 4 months. Once you get to 6 months, there's a reflex called an asymmetrical tonic neck reflex that needs to go away for us to develop army crawling and crawling appropriately. So what happens is when you turn their head to the right, when you still have this reflex prior to 6 months, when you turn their head to the right, everything on the left side of their body flexes, everything on the right side of their body extends. Turn their head to the left, same thing. Well, to crawl, you need to be able to slightly turn your head and extend your arm on the opposite side, turn your head the other way, extend your arm on the opposite side to do either army crawling or to do cross crawl patterns. Well, if every time you turn your head to the right, this arm wants to flex and this one wants to extend, you can't create that cross crawl pattern. So we need to get rid of it if it's there. And this should go right around that 6 month mark, maybe gets into 7 month mark. So I'm going to recap that again when we get into that 6 to 9 month video. But if you do see it, now at this point, so at first, in the first 6 months of life, if they didn't have normal range of motion, I had you extend everything on the right side of their body and turn their head to the right to get the reflex stronger so they can turn their head. Well, now what you're gonna do if they do have this reflex, which I'm gonna show you here in a second how to test it, is you're gonna straighten everything on the right side and turn their head to the opposite direction. And it'll feel tight at first, and again, as you do it more and more and more, it'll get looser and looser and looser. And same thing here, you'll straighten everything on this opposite side, and you should have full range of motion still. If you don't, you're gonna turn, turn, turn until it gets nice and loose. How you check that in an infant to see if it's still there is you lay them on the back and you turn their head to the right, and what you'll see if that reflex is there, you'll see a reflexive contraction. You'll see a reflexive contraction of their pec on the opposite side, or their shoulder will come forward. So if I turn the head to the right, I'll do it on myself. If I turn the head to the right and I see the shoulder come up with it, then I know that reflexively they're contracting their flexors on that side. Turn their head this way, reflexive contraction on that side. We don't want to see that. We should be able to turn their head with no contraction on the opposite side. If you are seeing that, I told you that reflex is still there, and we want to start working to get rid of it, so that way they can develop army crawling appropriately and cross crawling appropriately. I'm going to chat more about that a lot more in the 6 to 9 month video as we go along here. Thanks for taking the time to check out this video. To learn more or to schedule an intensive or anything with my team, there's a link below. Just go ahead and click that and that'll get you to the right spot. Have an awesome day.